Hello and welcome to FPL Neutral. This is Ram. We are in Gameweek 7. We're going to look at the teams with the best fixtures going forward and, of course, the best players to buy from them. If you like the content, do leave a like on this channel. This is my first year making FPL content, so would really appreciate it. And if you want to follow my team for the rest of the year, do subscribe to the channel. So let's jump right in and let's first look at how I did in Gameweek 6. It was a really fun week. I wildcarded. Of course, it was a game week of a battle between the wildcarders and the Haaland triple captainers, right? You could only play one chip. So I was, of course, in the wildcard boat. And after Haaland's 16-pointer, a massive triple point gain, a triple captain gain for whoever played it, it was definitely looking like the triple captainers had won until I think the last late Gabriel goal, which really pushed it sort of equal. I think it was finally quite balanced between the wildcarders. So the Gabriel goal really saved me. If I know some people might have gone for both, who might have had Gabriel from earlier and still triple captain Haaland. So fair play to them, big gains to you. But it was apart from these, I think most of the popular picks really blanked. So it was a matter of these two big hauls. Let's look at how my wildcard team shaped up. So there was a strong wildcard template last week, right? A lot of people played it. There was quite a few popular picks that were being picked throughout. My team is fairly template. I did differentiate in a couple of spots, though, where the risks I took. So I didn't go for Bruno Fernandes. Instead, I went for Mbumo. I saved the million. Of course, you know what happened there. Bruno Fernandes missed the penalty. He ended up on -1 points. Didn't get the DEFCON. It could have been a completely different story then if he had scored that penalty, of course. But I still like the decision I made. Of course, it worked out for me with a 3-point gain. The penalty was won by Mbumo. He would have got the assist if Bruno had scored, and it was a chance that it was if he hadn't been brought down in the box, it could have been a goal directly for Mbumo. So I feel unlucky to have missed out on Mbumo points there, but definitely with Sunderland at home next, happy to have him there. I'm not going to talk about Haaland more, but Semenyo once again coming in with another goal with a free kick this time. So he seems to be solid and one of the best FPL picks this season. Gabriel, as I mentioned, amazing goal, uh, full bonus and defensive contributions, 13-pointer despite conceding is a great haul. Senesi is another hero. He's been again 6 out of 6 defensive contributions this season and comes away with a late assist in the game and bonus points, so 7 points from him despite conceding. That's great. Now, I didn't go for the other DEFCON monster, that is Tarkovsky. I went for Romero instead from Tottenham. Which was disappointing because Tottenham play at home to Wolves. I was really hoping for some good points there, but Romero blanked. I went for Xavi Simons in midfield, which was my punt in midfield as well. Both of them blanked. Xavi got a yellow card. I went for Xavi over Kudus. Kudus looked like the more threat in that game, but hopefully more returns will come. I did go for a strong front 8. I didn't go for a very cheap like enabler like a Stack or a Xhaka or somebody. I went for a very strong front 8, and I had to bench Gyökeres, which also turned out okay because Gyökeres blanked, but everyone else blanked, right? Reinders blanked, Ndiaye blanked, João Pedro blanked. So yeah, Raya blanked. It's okay, but because who else did I? But there was nobody that I felt like I didn't that I missed in the team in my wildcard team. Everybody else blanked, right? Except for maybe Gehi, who got an assist, and Enzo Fernandez, who got a goal, but they weren't really in my radar so much. But everyone else blanked, right? Foden blanked. You have the entire Liverpool popular 11 like Salah, Wirtz, and the defense blanked. City defense, I didn't go for. A lot of people had gone for Donnarumma and Guardiola. That they also conceded. Newcastle defense also conceded. Entire Nottingham Forest were playing for Sunderland at home, and a lot of people had gone for Wood and or the defenders. They also blanked. Chelsea defense blanked. Chaloba, a few people had, he got a red card. So I'm pretty okay with the wildcard team. I got 72 points and went from over 2.1 million to 1.1 million, so a million rank gain in Green Arrow. So happy with that. So that's about my team. Now let's look forward to game week 7. Now let's look at the best the fixture ticker, right? Over the next 6 game weeks. So this is the fixture ticker from Fantasy Football Scout. Let's look at which teams have the best fixtures until game week 12. Now, right at the top, as you see, is Arsenal. Now, we've been saying this right from the start of the season. Game week 7 is where Arsenal's fixtures turn. They had a tough run of fixtures till 6, including Newcastle away last week. But now the real fixture starts. West Ham at home, Fulham away, Palace, Burnley, Sunderland, and Spurs. That's a great run of fixtures. I think tripling up on Arsenal on my own wildcard. I had double defense and Gyökeres. I think that could be the way to go. Gabriel looks like a must-have in most teams. You could go with the Saka or Eze in midfield option with the double attack maybe, but or instead of Gyökeres, you could go for Saka, especially with Madueke's injury. Saka looks to be nailed, and he's currently benched for the Champions League game as well. So I think that's also an option. But Arsenal, possibly three Arsenal players in your team looks to be must have, and possibly the best transfers in game week 7. If you're looking for a free transfer in for game week 7, I think Arsenal players are the ones to consider. Next up is Brighton. Of course, they've been a pretty impressive team, right? They've beaten City so far. They've beaten Chelsea last week. They drew with Spurs. Attackingly, they look good. Defensively, not so much. The only player I'd consider from Brighton at the moment is Minte at 5.9. He looks pretty good, and the fixtures are really great. If you see, like they have Wolves, then Newcastle, then United, then Leeds, Palace, and Brentford. It's a pretty decent fixture run and a good entry point this week against struggling Wolves. Now, next up is Wolves themselves have a good run of fixtures, but I don't think there are any good picks. I think Strand Larsen hasn't really was injured, and now he hasn't really done much, and the team is not really clicking. So maybe on a game week wildcard if they're back in form, but I wouldn't consider anyone at the moment. Leeds, I will say, are probably the best in terms of budget options across all positions. Like in defense, I know the Sunderland boys like Alderete got a 17 pointer, but I still think the Leeds guys, Rodon or even Goodmanson, are good because they have good fixtures and they'll probably be on the bench at 4.0, but still, I think Leeds are the way to go. In midfield, you can go for the option of Stack, who's been pretty good attacking and taking free kicks and all that. And even up front, Calvert-Lewin seems to be playing 90 minutes in back-to-back games now and scored a goal as well. So another option for Leeds there. Now, Everton, immediate fixtures are not really the best. I know the West Ham game in game week 6 is why a lot of people pick them as the money game, but disappointing there. But still, immediate fixtures look like Palace, City, and Spurs are the next three. All three could be difficult fixtures there, but beyond that, you still have decent fixtures. You can hold on to whoever you have, but yeah, so not the best buys in at the moment. Chelsea are playing Liverpool this week, so not really a great option for this week. But although Liverpool defense has been leaky, but with all the injuries, the suspensions and injuries that Chelsea have, so it's a team that's still been struggling in the last few weeks, you could say. But João Pedro continues to be an okay option because he's blanked for a couple of weeks now, but he's just got sent off in the Champions League, so there could be he could be back for the Premier League. So Enzo seems to be a good option while Palmer's out because he could be on penalties. He's playing quite forward, so that's another option. West Ham under Nuno could become better because they have good fixtures from game week 8 onwards. So you could consider Bowen or Paqueta or even Diouf in defense. Newcastle, I will say that's another team that's really going underrated because they've had a bit of difficult fixtures earlier, and now the real fixture run starts from game week 7. It's a great entry point this week with Forest at home, Brighton away, Fulham at home, West Ham away, Brentford away in the next 5. That's a great run of 5 fixtures. I think but the Livramento injury in defense is a slight blow, but I think the defense like Dan Burn or Pope in goal is still a good option. Voltemade up front, and even Gordon, who's I'm recording this after their Champions League game, and he took 2 penalties. So we know Gordon's on penalties now. So that's also another option that you can go for. But the attack hasn't fully clicked yet in the Premier League, although they just scored 4 goals in the Champions League. So maybe that's a good option to go for. Palace look good. They've had a fantastic start to the season so far. They just beat Liverpool. They're unbeaten in the league. So although the immediate fixtures again may not be the best, Everton is okay, but beyond that is Bournemouth and Arsenal, 2 of the good defenses so far this season. I think game week 10 is a great entry point for them. If you look, you have Brentford, Brighton, Wolves from game week 10 onwards, so that's a great entry point. If you're looking at Ismail Assar or the entire defense line of Richards, Lacroix, Gehi, and then Mateta up front, so a lot of options in Palace. And then if you can look at Okay, Villa up next. I don't think the Villa have clicked well. Maybe on a free hit this week, if anybody's on a free hit, because they're playing Burnley at home, but I wouldn't buy them in as a permanent transfer. Liverpool, they're playing Chelsea, but Chelsea don't really have centre backs, right? Most of them are suspended. So and then a week United against after that. But I don't really see a very viable option in Liverpool at the moment. Salah is not really clicked, and for that price, it's not really worth it. I feel at the moment, especially with Haaland's form. And all the others seem to be rotated. We saw Gakpo being benched. We saw Wirtz being benched. We saw Isaac and Ekitike sharing minutes of like. I'm sure they will continue to share minutes. Ekitike could play on the left, as we saw in the Champions League yesterday, but still, I don't see a way to go there at the moment. Maybe in 1 or 2 weeks, maybe we can look to go there. Spurs, I will say you can hold them, but I wouldn't buy them at the moment. I think game week 10, where they a bad run of fixtures start, so you can maybe look to sell them. Um, and then so that's it. I'm not really going beyond that. You can see some difficult fixtures for City down the line, but immediate fixtures are still okay. So that's mostly it in the fixture ticker. Now let's look at the best players to buy, right? Let's just summarize all of this in the fixture ticker, what I just went through, into what players can you look at buying in game week 7. Now depends if you already wildcarded, I think, or if you're looking to wildcard in game week 8, there's a good argument to maybe saving your transfer this week and maybe rolling the transfer, because then you can come out of the wildcard with an extra free transfer. But I wouldn't mind attacking some of the fixture changes like Arsenal or Newcastle this week. But of course, we will look at the best players. When you look at the best players to buy, it also means if you're wildcarding, what picks that you can go for. So let's go for goalkeepers first. Which are the best goalkeepers that you can look to own or buy this week? I think Raya continues to be the most solid option for clean sheets with Arsenal's fixture and turning. West Ham at home this week, great entry point. I have on my wild card, so really hoping for some clean sheets this week. So even at 5.6, I think Raya is a good keeper to have. I think Nick Pope is another great option that you can look at, because Newcastle defense has looked good. They have 4 in the 6 games they played so far. The only games that they didn't get a clean sheet was against Arsenal and Liverpool. So against everyone else, they've got clean sheets and they have a good run of fixtures coming up. So Nick Pope looks a good option. And at 4.5, I think Petrovic looks to be the best 4.5 option. Bournemouth defense has looked pretty solid, and he's making good save points in 2-3 games so far. So Petrovic is a good option there. And now the only reason you would want to make a keeper transfer is nobody really wants to make keeper transfers, right? I think only reason is maybe if you had an Alisson in your goal, maybe because Alisson just went off injured in the Champions League game. Now that presents an opportunity, because Liverpool's second keeper Mamadishvili is only 4.3 million. But we don't know how long Alisson's out for, so let's wait out for press conference information. But if he's out for long, that's at 4.3. That looks like a fantastic option to get a Liverpool keeper in. Now, would you buy them in? I don't think so, because Liverpool defense is still leaky. But on a wild card, definitely I would consider that. And Dubravka continues to be the best solid 4.0 option as your second keeper. So that's still another. You don't want to move away from that. Now let's go to defense. Now I think easily the best defender to buy this week, if you don't have them, is Gabriel. Is Arsenal again? There was a doubt whether he still has the goal threat that he used to have, because he hadn't taken too many shots, but he just put that doubt to rest last week with that late goal. Came away with 13-pointer. Looks to be essential right now with the quality of the Arsenal defense and the fixtures they have and the goal threat he has, and he got defensive contribution. So Gabriel looks to be an amazing pick to have in your team right now. So if you're buying somebody this week, I would prioritize Gabriel as my number one option. Senesi continues to be an absolute brilliant FPL option. 6 out of 6 defensive contributions, and has now come away with an assist as well. And he's got bonus points, so he continues to be a solid option. He's gone up to 4.9 million now. I still think he's worth it to buy if you don't have him, and we would have any wildcard team. I think you should have Senesi. And as I said, Newcastle's fixture turning. Burn looks to be the option to go from there. I know he's 5 million, but he's getting defensive contributions every now and then. Although he's playing left back in the Champions League game tonight, so that's a slight concern, because you might not get as many DEFCON points at left back as you would get at centre back. So that's something to monitor. Anderson at Fulham continues to be, again, he got defensive contributions again, 5 in a row now. Only the opening game he missed out on, but again, a solid option at 4.5, I think, as your fourth defender on your wildcard, great option. And Palace defense, Richards seems to be again a great option at the cheapest of the lot. Lacroix at 5 also is good. Gehi, of course, has gone up in price, 4.8 now. I think all of them are good options at Palace. So, but Richards, I think, say, given the price, getting the defensive contributions and good. I think game week 10 is where I personally am looking to move maybe my Romero pick in my team to Palace, because their fixtures turn there. So, but yeah, that's another great option to buy. And among the cheap defenders, I still prefer the Leeds defender. I like Rodon, who's in my team as well. Rodon got a goal last week. And I'm looking at a bench boost in game week 9 when they play West Ham, who are poor at corners. So hopefully Rodon gets maybe a corner goal there. So I like the Leeds options, Rodon or Goodmanson even as my 4-point option. But even the Alderete and the Mukiele picks from Sunderland look great as well. Now let's move on to midfielders. Who are the best midfielders to buy this week? Right? Again, we go back to the same teams. Right? We go back to Arsenal. Saka, I think, will have solid minutes. He's on the bench in the Champions League. I'm recording at halftime in the Champions League match. He's not come on yet. So both Saka and Eze, you see in the slide, both of them are on the bench. So they should start this weekend against West Ham. So I think Arsenal are a good place to go, but I wouldn't mind it if you. I mean, in my team, I have double defense and Gyökeres, so I don't really plan to go. I can't go for a midfielder option. I'm okay with that. But as a differential, I think Saka is a great differential at the moment, even as a. So you can go there. I think in Madueke's absence, his minutes are up. Although he doesn't really, I don't think he has penalties. I think Gyökeres is first choice penalty taker, but you know the quality of the players, both Saka and Eze, so you can go there. Semenyo continues to be amazing for he seems to be finding new ways to score points every week. He got a penalty, he scored from a free kick, all that. So I think even at 7.8, he's gone up 0.8 this season. So but still, this continues to hurt you if you don't have him anymore. So you might as well just get him in. And in Newcastle, I think a rogue shout for me. I think Gordon seems to be a great option. I think we haven't seen much of Gordon this season because he got a red card in the game week 2 and he was suspended for 3 weeks, and he came back and the only game he played in the Premier League was against Arsenal. So we've not really seen him much. But in the time he's played, he's got good underlying numbers. And we just found out in the Champions League that he's on penalties. He scored 2 penalties. So he scored 2 goals for them. So that's a great option with that fixture run coming up. A great entry point against Ange Postecoglou's Nottingham Forest this week. So that's Gordon. I wouldn't mind at all as a great pick to go for. I think the Newcastle attack will be better with him in it, with Voltemada up front. So that's a rogue shout that you can go for, especially if you're on a wild card this week or next week. And then Ismail Assar, who was injured for a while and he came back and immediately scored against Liverpool. His underlying numbers are always great. I think on any wildcard team, I would include Ismail Assar as well. But again, in my own team, I might be considering a move in game week 10, where after maybe I have a Javi Simons in my team, I might look to move him on to either Ismail Assar or the next guy in the list, that is Minte. Both these players have fantastic fixtures, especially from game week 10 onwards. Minte has a good entry point this week as well with Wolves away. As I said, Brighton attack has been clicking pretty well. Minte just scored against Chelsea once again. He looks at 5.9 million. That's such a cheap price for a really good player in Brighton. So both Sar and Minte, I will consider even as a transfer in this week or on your wildcard teams or in game week 10 especially. So these are all great players to buy and keep an eye on all of them. Now let's move on to forwards. Finally, these are my top options of in forwards. Haaland, I don't have to say much. He just scored a couple of goals again in the Champions League. Again, as I said, I'm recording at halftime, so he might have added that. By the time you're watching this video, he might have added more to that. He just looks to be on it. This looks to be, seems to be back to his best. Although and you know how good his best is. He just scoring goals for fun. So just, I don't think you don't have to worry much about it. Just pick him in your team. Just get him in as a transfer, as on wildcard. Just get him in. And then Gyökeres, I think he just got an assist again in the Champions League. So he's been disappointing the last couple of weeks because he's blanked. But I still think with the fixtures coming up, he just has seemed more of a flat track bully because he scored a couple against Leeds. He scored against Forest. He's struggled against the bigger teams, but with the fixture run coming up, I expect Gyökeres to blast through these weaker teams, you could say. So I am happy to hold Gyökeres in my team, and I think he's definitely a great option to buy against West Ham at home this week. Now Mateta again, Palace again look to, these are all the same teams once again. We talked about Sarr, we talked about Richards in defense. Mateta is against on penalties, playing for a team that is unbeaten in the top four. They're doing well. Decent entry point at Everton this week. Although next fixtures are Bournemouth and City, but still, I will say these are still good option. He's still a good solid option to have in your wildcard, or maybe if you're bringing in, I might prefer somebody like a Gyökeres. But yeah, Mateta is still a solid option. Voltemada up next. I think he's been started off quite well. He scored again on his Champions League debut. He scored on his Premier League debut. He scored again. So he's looked pretty good, and with the fixtures we've talked about, again with a great entry point at that a cheaper price to all of João Pedro, Gyökeres, Haaland. So it's a rogue punt again, once again, because we haven't seen Newcastle attack clicking as much. But I will absolutely wouldn't mind a Voltemada punt if any of you are going for it. João Pedro is the next. It's a slight. There is a doubt of an injury this week. We were told he's not in the Brazil squad for the international break, so he might not play this week. He's currently on my bench for this week. But one good thing you could say is that he didn't start the Champions League game, but he did come on and he played till the end. But he got a red card. I mean, he played till the end, and he played until 90, where he got a red card. So he's going to be suspended for that next Champions League game, which is going to come between game week 8 and 9. And game week 9 is Sunderland at home. And there was concerns even in my head that if he's playing Champions League that week, will he be rested against Sunderland that weekend? But now he's suspended for that Champions League game, so he's going to start the Sunderland game for sure. So that's, again, I'm happy to hold him for that with a great fixture run that Chelsea's going to have from then. So yeah, that's João Pedro. And as a cheaper option, once again, Leeds continues to be my cheap option pick. Calvert-Lewin's played back-to-back 90 minutes. He's scored as well at 5.5. Looks to get, and Leeds have decent fixtures, so that would be my pick if you're wanting a cheap striker there. These are my options. If do let me know if there's anybody I missed, or if you feel there's somebody going under the radar, and do let me know in the comments if you have any other opinions. So thank you so much for watching, and I will be uploading a team selection video later this week. So see you soon.